Hi, just trying to come up with a quick tutorial for somebody asking about cycles painting. Right now this is Blender 273 point A, so just to show you which one that is, that's that one. I'm going to switch to cycles right now just to make it very obvious what's going on. The This isn't my normal work area, but I'm going to just adapt it real fast. Um, just real fast, I'm going to go ahead and change this to a node editor, and I'm going to delete the existing material, add a new one, so that way we can get something going with this. This is just a standard diffuse BSDF to an output. um, I need to go to my brushes. I'm going to set up a brush based on texture. um, New image, open. I'm going to go to my Blender trials, Blender textures. Whoops. Actually, um, let me see here. Something just simple. Well, for right now, I'll just use this honeycomb one. Now, I've already made that as a tileable image. If you have one that's not tileable, that's something I can cover in a second. Anyway, the whole thing is to go to texture paint mode. Right now it's showing nothing because I haven't really done anything. It says missing data, and it needs to be unwrapped, and it also needs a paint slot, which means it needs an image to paint to. So what I'm going to do with cycles is I'm going to go ahead and tab back to edit mode. I'm going to unwrap it. You'll see it if I change this to UV image editor. Sorry. They're all packed over the top. That's not the one unwrap I want. So I'm going to actually go back and Smart UV project 0.03 for the island margin. And that gives me something a little bit more workable. Okay, the idea to set up something to paint on, here in the node editor I'm going to add an image texture. There's nothing actually here yet. I'm going to add input UV map. Choose that one that's already named. That's generic. I'm not going to have it plugged in yet, but I'm going to set up a new image for the purposes. I'm just going to leave it generically at 1024. Leave it untitled. Hit OK. Okay, so there's my image that I'm going to paint to. That's my texture. If I go to texture paint mode right now, you'll see it's purple because I don't have anything listed here. So let me go ahead and scroll through to untitled. Now it's showing up on there. I don't even have it plugged into the diffuse. I just have it here. You do the same thing for when you're baking from cycles. You can set up an image mentioned here in the image node, and you can do your baking without it actually being plugged into the material. Alright, so zooming in, get to a level. The thing is with this is that I really don't like the fact that it's just all black. I don't have anything to see. So let me go ahead and do a fill brush for right quick, and let me fill it like slightly gray. Options, turn off occlude and cull. A couple times, and there you go. That's nice and gray. Now I can actually see. What I wanted to point out is that here you can see the shading with the paint, and we're in draw solid mode. If I go to texture mode, it's very, very dark, and it's almost like GLSL where you have to have the light right next to it. If I go to material mode, then it's almost the opposite. It's like very bright, almost like shadeless. to see it, but you have just enough light to see it. So it depends on what you prefer. I actually prefer going to solid mode, being that it gives me a little bit more feel. Okay, now I'm going to create a texture brush. Best bet is to go ahead and use the basic text draw brush, and I'm going to choose that texture that I set up earlier, honeycomb. Now to view plane, that means however you have it. So if I start painting, it's going to just set it. I've got this set for rake. Let me back up. I'm going to set it to user. So the view plane I set here, and I go across. It's using it, but it's actually moving it around. If I set it to tiled, then you get that as a paint, and so that might be what you want, but you have to watch out for the fact that you're now painting perspective, and that actually changes the the kind of content you're going to get out of it. So let me take another stab at it. You can go to stencil, and that's where it actually overlays this image, and you can use your right mouse button to move it around, right mouse button to spin it, and shift right mouse button to scale it. So if you decide you don't want the way it's set up, reset the image aspect and reset the transform, you can get it like that. Now what I want to do is get it to where it matches the view. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in to match there about as much as I can, and then we'll see what happens here. The value, I need to turn that up. And as I get a little lighter, see a little bit different. So now you can see the value where I pressed harder and then came down and lightly faded it. And so to turn that stencil off, you got to go back to tiled or whatever. And so that's painted. Now you'll see here in the image editor, there's my painted image. If I want to save this, then I'm going to use F3 or choose save as image. Pick a location, like say desktop, and test. I'm going to save that. Okay, that's actually updated. Now as far as cycles is concerned, this is still an untitled, but I'm going to go to my desktop and grab that test to make it official so it's linked correctly. I'm going to put it into my diffuse, and then that way if I go to render view, we now have it in rendered view in cycles. And if you're looking for how to use that with cycles better, you can do all kinds of things with using it as a stencil between images. So as a shader. Between a black and white shader, or maybe we can turn around and have that as a gray, but then this one is a different color, or X that and get a glossy. And you can also drive your bump. You can Plugging that in there will get you some very quick bump. Depending on what you're using as far as your object goes, it might be better with a normal map that's baked from actual sculpted details, but for this purpose, it's pretty good for background stuff.